Well, DBR here. Welcome to Hamityville Horror. Thank you for visiting. I am Clint,
I'm Don.
and we are joined here today with a very special guest, one Mr. Jason Brooks. And how's it going, man?
It's going good. How are you doing?
Oh, we are doing fantastic. We're doing even better now that you're here. Thank you so much for taking the time to get on with us and discuss a few things. I appreciate you taking time out of your day. And
thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem at all. Anytime,
pleasure,
really. Unless, of course, this goes poorly, and then we'll say, well, maybe we won't do this again.
Be fucking optimistic.
We'll try to fuck it up as much as we can. Man.
Jesus. Well, unless this goes bad, and he's just like, okay, bye in 5 minutes. I mean,
yeah.
Jesus.
At any rate, I'm really digging all the artifacts that you got in your room there. I mean, it looks like you got like a full body costume of Jason from Roseblood, and is that the one from Vengeance back there?
That is.
Oh, that is super sweet. You know,
I got to get another mannequin for the Vengeance 2 costume. So and then I'll be
Vengeance 2. Oh,
is a lot different than the first one.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's an evolution.
Yeah, we kind of heard that a little bit from Peter that you guys didn't have a whole bunch of input on the first Vengeance movie, but you had a lot more on the second one. And the words out of his mouth were, it's, in his opinion, it's 10 times better than the first one. So I'm really looking forward to getting a chance to see that. Where are you at in that process right now?
Yeah. Well, first, it's I did have some input on the first one. And I think that we had a lot of people with a lot of really great ideas, and we crammed a lot of things into it. And then we had to cut it down so we get that magic hour-and-a-half number. So we lost some stuff along the way, but we were able to pick some of that up, put it in the second one. And of course, hopefully it's better than the first one, because we should always be learning and improving. So yeah, but I'm excited for the second one. Right now we're in post-production. We just did our last round of pickup shots, and we got those in the edit. And now I'm about a day or two away from sending that final edit off to be cleaned and polished. And then Cody's going to take that, kind of fine tune it, clean it, make sure that all the shots are right, everything's in focus. If there's anything better to tweak there with editing, and then we'll do the color correcting, the sound editing, the sound effects, visual effects if there's any needed, and then the music and the scoring, and pull all that together. So still quite a bit to do. It's a lot, but it's looking good for a rough. There's been a few people. We did a test audience with the rough, and for a rough, it's pretty amazing. So
yeah. I mean, for a fan film, that is a pretty amazing amount of work, and it sounds to me like it's being professionally done and that it's in really good hands. So
yeah.
You got like a time projection when you think like it might be ready to go out?
We're hoping in a couple months.
Okay. All right.
I'm pretty sure we can do a test screen too.
Yeah. If you guys are closer, I might have you do it.
Yeah. I've already been starting to follow a lot of your social media stuff and YouTube channel, your TikTok, because I'm hoping to get some more insight as to when things like this are going to be popping off and stuff that's coming up in the future. So that is something I want to hit on it when we get a little closer to the end, how people can do that themselves, make sure that they're up to date on what's going on. So I mean, you kind of been doing this for a long time, and I was just curious, just in a real general sense. I mean, is there like a memory in your life of maybe an event or something that kind of in your mind prompted you to pursue like film and movie making?
Yeah, I think it was when I was about 8 years old. We went to a friend's house, or an acquaintance house with my parents' friends. And it's like one of those things where all the adults are hanging out upstairs. They threw the kids in the basement. And I went down there, and we didn't really have TVs or anything like that, growing up to that point. But I went downstairs, and then they were playing Star Wars on HBO. And I remember walking in right when the Millennium Falcon was going into hyperspace. And I was like, what is this? And then I fell in love with movies, and I was watching it. I love the costumes. I love the action. I love the visuals of everything. And from that point on, I wanted to know everything about movies, everything, how they were made, how to make costumes, props, all that stuff. And so I got way into it. And then once, VHS kind of went away. We started getting the DVDs with behind the scenes. I was obsessed with that, always watching any movie I'd get, I'd watch the behind the scenes, the making of, to try to figure out how they did things, why they did things. And it just kind of carried on, and got into prop making, and costume design and all that. And got involved with some local filmmakers at one point and was just helping behind the scenes. Mm-hmm. And at some point, hey, you're a big guy. Do you want to be the monster? Of course I do. Do you want to stand in here, be an extra? So it just kind of evolved until Vengeance picked up, and then or it was Mythos at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I auditioned for that, and here I am now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, you're a pretty tall guy. What are you, like 6'5"? Is that what I heard?
6'5", yep.
Okay. Yeah, no wonder they ask you to play monsters. Since we're on that, I mean, do you really like doing suit work and costuming up like that, or is it just something you'd naturally gravitate towards because you fit the bill?
No, I love it. I do. I've always somehow, I grew up very shy, in school, kind of a little bullied and shy. I was tall, so I stuck out a lot. So I was always trying to hide. And I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to get acting in front of the screen, but felt too shy. I didn't want to be judged, that kind of thing. So it's like, I don't need to bring on more judgment than I already have. So once I discovered costumes and masks and everything, it's like, I can hide behind there. No one knows who I am. I can really just be whatever. That got exciting. And so my first real kind of venture into that was, again, Star Wars, with like a stormtrooper costume and Darth Vader costume, and joined a group called the 501st. And then we did events and all that, and eventually started working with some Lucasfilm stuff. So that was my first kind of push into that arena. But from then on, I grew up and got a little more confidence, and kind of got out of that shy face. So now I don't mind as much anymore, but I still love the suit work, the mask work, the character and creature, gigs. So love it all.
Sweet.
That's really freaking cool.
But would you much rather play Louis, since you've had that character now, last I counted, you've played that character 4 times. You've played Jason 3. You've played Louis more times than you have Jason.
That's true.
So
that's true, actually.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah, the Louis story. I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe you've heard it on another interview, but
no, I want you to tell me.
That came from a prior film I was working on called Happy Trails. I wanted to have this old, kind of shitty store owner who was kind of an asshole to patrons and all that. And it was just kind of a side character in the story. And as we were trying to cast for that, I was working with my director of photography who was helping casting, and we were talking about it. He was kind of giving some examples of some like heavy set truckers and trucker caps. And I'm like, no, that's not quite what I'm thinking. Don't have that in mind. And so I eventually just kind of put on the fake beard and the hat and grabbed some stuff I had around the house, and made the character, went in the garage, had my son film me. I played the scene out for him, and he came back, he's like, dude, you have to play the role. I'm like, no, I'm directing this film. I don't want to be in it. And he's like, no, there's no one else who can do it. You do it. So I did. And it seemed to go well. People liked it. And then when we were shooting Vengeance, the director, Jeremy Brown, said, hey, do you mind if we put Louis in this film? And at the time, his name was Carl in the other film. But he's like, we want to name him Louis after the actual lake owner of the lake we were shooting at, named Louis, who looks a lot like Louis, coincidentally. But he's like, I'd like to put him in the film. And I said, that's cool, as long as I keep control of the lines. And he said, no problem. So I did. And then after that came out, all of a sudden Louis blew up, and I started getting more offers to be Louis in other films. So like you said, 4 other projects. And there's a few more that haven't been released yet. There's a few more that haven't filmed yet. And it's pretty crazy. So
the character has some of the absolute best lines I have ever heard.
Did you write those lines yourself?
Yeah, it was whenever I work on a project, I say, hey, go ahead and put in whatever throwaway dialogue, like how you want the scene to play out with the other characters. I would like the opportunity to go in there and spice them up, or so that way I know the feel of your scene, but I'll make it how Louis would actually play it out. So for the most part, I'd say 90% are things I wrote. I was dating a girl named Maddie at the time as well, who did a lot of work on the film, and she came up with a few of the really good ones. So she had some contributions there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just curious about that because that's probably one of my favorite characters in Vengeance. That was the first movie that I saw that had Louis in it, and honestly, I think he's probably the reason why that's my favorite Friday fan film. We did an episode on our podcast that was just about Friday fan films, and that one came up. Roseblood came up, and at the time we were doing like a DVD box set giveaway, and we were putting questions out for the listeners to basically come up with the answers. And one of the answers to the questions was what I thought was the best line in the whole fucking movie, and and that was, "Jesus Christ, you smell like a goat queef on a pair of hillbilly balls."
Oh yeah.
And that was one of, and somebody had to give us that answer to the question. We were like, we just kept thinking about it, playing it back, like, God, I hope that was improv. It had to have been improv.
No, that one I wrote.
That's awesome.
That one I wrote. That's in the script.
We watched Clint sent me a scene for Happy Trails today, which was hilarious, when a guy walks up with the strawberry milk and you're just like, you want some tampons with that?
Like, right. Some tampons. Got them there next to the diapers and wine coolers.
Exactly.
It's just amazing, like, just to see that character evolve, and I'm pretty sure he's only going to get better as we go along, which is even more exciting, because it's like, I love the fact that side characters can sometimes overpower main characters just because, you know, the atmosphere, what you bring to the table, your delivery and everything, and that's pretty much what you did in Vengeance. I mean, you stole some guy's Jeep, you know, straight up. And then, you know, you shit talk Jason when you're right in front of him. It's like
Mickey Myers, yeah.
It's like, damn, like, dude's just amazing. Just amazing.
You.
Speaking of Mr. Myers, that was your first horror film. Was Halloween, was it not?
Yeah. Wow, you guys did some homework.
Mm-hmm. Bet. So if you weren't playing Jason, you would love to play Michael Myers, which you'd be amazing for as well. And I think that's, you know, says a lot about how you deliver as Jason. You know, Michael Myers, silent killer, you know, not I can't say not hard to play. I mean, you're still in a costume, in a mask. I mean, none of these characters are easy to play, but you know, I think you'd be amazing if it ever got offered to you. I think it'd be great. So I know Halloween was your first horror movie. What's your favorite horror movie?
Oh man, I get asked that a lot and I never know. I think it depends on what you consider horror also. But What We Do in the Shadows movie, kind of horror, kind of, you know, that's one of my favorites. I've probably seen that more than any other horror film.
That's a good one.
But I do love Part 6, Friday the 13th Part 6, and the original Halloween 1 and 2. It's going back. Yeah, I don't know. It just really depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll throw some other stuff on.
I love the fact you said Halloween 1 and 2, the original.
I'm so glad you said Halloween 2 because
shit on so much. And the movie,
I know honestly, people who dump on that movie.
It's amazing.
And I love that movie, and I wish they would have never all the time.
I wish they would have never cut that off. Where 2018's version were like, oh, Halloween 2 never happened. It's like that. It was perfect. I mean, it's the perfect sequel, going from 1 to 2 like it did. It was same night. I love it. I love Halloween 2. I really do.
Yeah. I'm
glad you said that. That's
it was awesome. Really cool to see it as a continuation of the same night, you know, and normally when people are, you know, like nitpicking it or playing with it, you know, it's always dumb stuff, you know, like they say, well, you know, he's not that inventive of a killer, you know, what's with the hot tub scene and things like that. It's like, well, you know, he's not dead and he's not stupid. So, I mean, he could pull something like that off.
He drowned somebody. It's
people.
It's not just stabbing. I mean, you know, I think people bitch about, oh, he doesn't have a butcher knife. He's in a hospital. You go with your environment. You got a scalpel. It makes total sense. I mean, it's just like Jason out in the woods. How many times does he find an axe? How many times does he find a machete? It's like nobody bitches about that. And, you know, Jason's main weapon is a machete. And, you know, Michael Myers may have a butcher knife, but it's all environmental. I mean, look when Jason, you know, look at part 8. Doesn't use a machete in part 8. He uses everything else.
Everything. And yeah, and I think that some people just get stuck on their idea of what something is, which, you know, I hear a lot. And like even in a test screening recently, and we're hearing about with Vengeance, like, oh, Jason doesn't kill in the daytime. Well, I've seen him, you know, or he doesn't go out in the daytime. So in people's mind, it's like, nope, he must be sleeping in the day and awake at night, or it disappears or something. And well, we've seen him in the daytime in other movies.
Yes.
And we've in many times and different films. So, but they get something in their mind that locks in that says, no, Michael Myers kills. He only kills with the butcher knife. It's the or Jason only kills with the machete, and it has to be the certain way. And like same with the Friday the 13th date, a lot of people are like, wait, it's not Friday the 13th. Why is he out there killing? Like, well, only the first, you know, couple movies are on the 13th, and then it goes the next day, and then it's the you know, so it doesn't. The date itself is not the day that he's allowed to kill. So people just get stuck on specific nuances in their mind, I think, sometimes, and take some of the fun out. But I don't know. I mean,
we're fans regardless. I don't. You know, big thing is that it's a horror movie. It's a slasher. It's not supposed to have. You're not supposed to have the IQ of a genius to enjoy a slasher horror movie. You're supposed to sit down and have fun, and that's what all these, you know, that you've been in with you and Peter behind the helm, you know, that's the thing. They've been fun and they've been, you know, well done. So I mean, Roseblood didn't even feel like a fan film. It felt like a real, like, Hollywood production, just because, you know, you had Laura in it, you had Terry in it, and it just felt like a real Hollywood. Even Vengeance did. You know, Vengeance was well done, and you know, you had Darcy in it, and she played a great part. So I mean, it's, you know, you had some people in there, and again, Vengeance felt like a actual, like, Hollywood production. And what's really sad is after watching the movie back, you know, seeing how much you did is sickening. I mean, you were like first grip, second grip, third grip, fifth grip, caterer. I think you brought in like 4 porta potties. You know, like, damn, man, like, you were just heavily involved in that so much. And, you know, I know in other interviews you said still your favorite part of it's still acting. So I know, you know, you've done production, you've done directing and writing, but I know you'd still love to get in front of the camera rather than behind it.
Yeah. And it's just, you know, I want it to be good. And the thing is with fan films is they're expensive to make, and you can't find everyone to work for free or to volunteer. And the people you can find to volunteer or help work for free, they don't necessarily have the skills all the time, because people with real good talent and skills often want to charge fairly, you know, and that's fair to do that. But I was willing to make it the best I possibly could for free, you know, and not get paid or anything, and do everything I could, because everyone else who's on that set is putting all their time, blood, sweat, tears, money into it as well. And I wanted to make sure that it, you know, paid off for everyone, that we got a product that people could be proud of. And so I, you know, kind of vowed to do my best on that as well. So.
Oh, you excelled at that. Roseblood had a lot. That had a lot more. I guess that was part of an Indiegogo, right?
Yeah.
So that had a lot. That was massively successful. So I mean, that's and even still, like, I think Peter said it was like 264,000 after the final number, somewhere near that. And it's like,
I mean, it depends on what you count.
Okay.
I mean, it's not. I mean, it's funny that it goes two ways, right? It's like, it takes a lot of money to put it on there, but we didn't pay $200 and something thousand to make the movie.
Oh, no
basically,
way.
you know, because then we'd have a lot better equipment, a lot more. There'd be a lot more. But the facility that Sean was building, you know, that takes into account, which is not just specifically for the film, but for other things. There's a lot of money that goes into it for things that would carry on, and that kind of become investments for the future in other films and everything. But there's so much for the films that come out. Once you get the Indiegogo done, you use that, but then you still find you're coming out of pocket for a lot of things. Every little thing adds up, and it's amazing how fast money goes when you're filmmaking.
Oh man, advertising and I mean, I've seen, advertising and marketing is like a quarter of it just gone. Might as well just put that aside because, a lot of these movies, your commercials and everything. Luckily, you guys don't. And again, see here, this, like you said, making these movies, it not only is it not cheap, it's not easy because you don't have you have nothing backing you. You don't have the luxury of filming a commercial and putting it out on 15 different stations like Peter's done with us. It's word of mouth. It's, hey guys, can you put this on your page? Can you leave a review? Can you do this on IMDb? And that's how you guys get across. And I guess not a lot of people understand that. Not a lot of people understand what it really takes because, unless you've actually done it, you just don't know. People hear, oh, it was really massively successful, 264,000. Again, guys, that's not what the movie was made on. But again, I'll back up and say it looks like it was made for a shit ton more than that. So, kudos to the crew and kudos to everything that you did, because again, what you guys brought to the table was pure insanity.
Yeah, I think the money that you spent on it was very well used. I mean, it certainly, the end product looks really good, and it's got a legit feel to it. I mean, it's a professionally done enterprise. I mean, it's not like, some of the other fan films that we attempted to watch that looked like they were done with a camcorder in somebody's backyard. I mean, these are awesome, over the top productions.
Thank you. And I have to, attribute a lot of that to like Cody Newton and the film crew, who, they came with their equipment and their talents as well and made us look really good. Like we could have the best script, the greatest actors, but if we have our cell phone or camcorder, it's not going to have the same power as having a real guy who does sound, and a real person who with the real camera. So a lot of kudos to those people as well who lent their talents to make us look awesome.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Now I know a couple of these movies were filmed out in Seattle, and I was just kind of curious, how was that picked as a filming location, or out near Seattle? I mean,
that's where I live.
Okay, well, that's a good reason.
So that's the best reason.
Yeah. So when I first got on with Mythos, it was going to be shot in Idaho. So I flew out there for a week. We filmed Mythos, and then when we transitioned that to be Vengeance, kind of scrapped the Mythos footage, started all over again, new story, new cast. The director was like, well, we've got choices here. We can either keep filming it out here or go out there. And at the time I was starting to do more of the props, the costumes, the wardrobe. I was doing a lot of things. I also knew a lot of film people out here from the stuff I did my prior work, and had some resources. So the director up and moved from Idaho to Washington with his family, and we just kind of planted here and started doing it.
Wow, nice. Yeah. Just say, because there can't be shit in Idaho other than potatoes. I mean, I don't know what else is there. It's just I'd much rather go to somewhere near Seattle without a doubt.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's
probably a bit more woods out there, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, no doubt.
Definitely lots of woods.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, Don touched on it earlier, like the number of hats you have the ability to wear, like on a set, and just so many things in the overall production of a movie, and on set. I mean, like costume design, cinematographer. I mean, you've done some editing. I mean, you've done directing, just about everything. I think, is there anything that you can't do?
It's not going to answer that.
Oh, for sure.
It's not going to answer that.
I mean, there's definitely things I can't do. Like the paperwork. I hate the paperwork. I had to do it on Vengeance too. But yeah, what was funny was, it just reminded me, I was seeing some behind the scenes footage from the first film. Mm-hmm. And there was someone was shooting behind the scenes, and I literally was in my full Jason costume getting ready to do a scene where I ran to the prop house. I grabbed the props that I made, I brought it out, I put it on the thing, I set up the tent, I set up all the stuff that I was doing for the set design, doing stuff all in costume, and then I reached over and they handed me the camera to hold. So I filmed me walking up to this tent from my POV and was kind of directing that scene at the same time because the director wasn't there. And it was just so funny to see me in costume doing every job along the way. But it's how it goes, and especially this last one, being a directing it and then being in charge of everything. But there's so much to it. And like you're saying, people don't realize how much work goes into it. The last year and a half or so has been basically avoiding my family and doing this. And the paperwork itself takes forever, working with SAG to go through paperwork to get legit actors and to get the right payroll set up and to get the right insurance companies and the right all these. There's so much that goes into it just with that, while you're trying to write a script, while you're trying to find actors, and while you're trying to figure out locations and where you're going to shoot. And once you do find that, how are you going to set decorate it to make it look like it's in universe? And then where are you going to get those supplies and those people? What are they going to wear? Where are they going to eat? Where are they going to stay? Where are they coming from? And then the actors flying in, getting their schedule of flights and hotels and making sure everyone's fed, everyone's taken care of, everyone has rides to and from the airport. There's like an insane amount of logistics and planning that goes into it, outside of what people generally think of as like, oh, you just get to show up with your friends on set, hold the camera, call action, and have fun wearing a costume. So it's I think that's the one thing that people learn when they start doing this, that sometimes brings projects to where they don't get completed, because we've seen tons of fan films being made or started and they just kind of fade away. I think it's just that once you get into it and you realize you're drowning, it's like, oh my God. It really does take a village, and without every single person helping me on this, there would be nothing. So
yeah, that sounds very difficult. And
I don't want to do it anymore. I was going to make one, but I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah, I think I had half a panic attack listening to you describe it.
So I did. I'm starting to sweat. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit! Like
sorry.
I'm sweating for him.
I'm starting to sweat now.
All right.
And don't try to run stunts through SAG. I mean, if you do stunts and it's.
Oh, well, that's why Kane hasn't been able to be, because he was supposed to be in Vengeance and be what the part that Peter had, right? Of what is it, Ken Slate? And Ken couldn't.
Yeah, we talked to Kane about being. And but he's like, yeah, you can't do it because of SAG and the rules and stuff. So then we just had Peter do it.
Gotcha.
He was amazing either way.
But I can understand why you'd want to ask him. I mean, who wouldn't want to ask him to be in a film? That's super cool. I mean, he's basically played Jason more than anybody else I can think of, maybe with the exception of you. I don't know.
Well, if you count Mythos, I think we're tied, but Mythos never got released.
Okay.
Well, did that transformed into Vengeance, right? Pretty much.
Yeah. Well, kind of. It evolved. We were going to keep some of the same story elements, but we ended up throwing it all out, keeping character names, and that was about it.
Okay.
So I did actually play Jason in Nightmare on Elm Street Up All Night. So I guess that would be another one.
You were all three. You were Louis in that too, were you not?
I was.
Jason, and he played, and you were Freddy too, weren't you?
Just in a couple scenes.
Damn, dude, you be Michael Myers. You're gonna be one of them people that's played all three. Like, Bill Paxton died in Terminator, Aliens, Predator. You could be the one that's played Jason, Freddy, and Michael Myers. Nobody else can hold that.
That'd be fun.
That'd be awesome.
So, I don't know. Was there something in particular that drew you to the Friday the 13th fan films, or just you just happened to be around people who wanted to make those movies, and you're like, hey, I want to be a part of that?
Yeah. So I like Jason, and growing up with that name, I didn't like it at first because, again, that bullying thing, I'd get teased about that. But then at one point I just kind of embraced it. And then once I had my size and everything, I made my own Halloween costume that I wore, and of course trying to make it movie accurate and everything. So it looked really awesome. And I was wearing that, and I got approached by some people who ran a haunted house, the Nile Nightmares haunted house out here. And they're like, hey, we got a Friday the 13th coming up. Would you want to come and be a special visitor or special attendee or whatever, and then wear the costume, a special guest, and then wear the costume out here and get pictures. Like, sure, that'd be awesome. So that was my favorite haunted house. I went out there and did that, and the whole time people are just like, "Oh my God, you should be in the movies. You look so great! Wow!" And I was like, "I would love to, but they're not making them right now, and whatever." And I didn't even know about the fan films at this point, no idea. And then someone I knew at the time mentioned that they were making Mythos out in Idaho, and so I reached out to the director and I was like, "Hey, my name is Jason and I live out here. I would love to audition for the film." And he was like, "Nah, you know, we're hiring local. We've got like 80 something people in line to play Jason. It's very popular. We're gonna find someone local." Some pretty well-known Jason cosplayers out in this area who make the newspaper. So thanks, but no thanks. And so I was a little bummed, but I told my son, grab his camera, I'm putting the costume on, shot a video, and then sent it to him and said, "I know you said no, but I just want to let you know I made this costume and I'm also you know, here I am wearing it." So he called back and he's like, a day or two later, he's like, "All right, we're listening. Here's some script sides. Go act this out and send it back." So we did. We went out in the parking lot. The scene was to stand in front of a car. The car goes around me. And then I kind of just look to the side and walk off. And so we went out there. My son was 14 at the time, I think, 15, didn't have a license. No one could drive. So we went out to the apartment complex in the parking lot, stand there, put the camera on a tripod, and we're trying to pretend the car's coming over and over again. But then eventually a neighbor left. And as they happened to be right in the car where the tripod was, we had to move. And then all of a sudden I was like, "Wait, start rolling." And so they started rolling. As the neighbor, who I have no idea who they are, they were starting to leave. I get out there in front of the car. They have to get around me and stuff. And then I do the whole scene and then walk off, and we submitted that. And the director called me back and he's like, "You know, of all the people we saw, you're the first one that has the right size, the right manners, the right movement. Yep. You have everything that we want, and you didn't have to be directed at all. Like, some people have the right size, they can't do it. Some people have the right actions, they're not big enough. But you're the first one to nail it all, so you got the part." And that's how I got into it. And then I learned about fan films.
That's awesome, dude. I did I did the same thing. I had like the mask back here, that one, and then the one that's over here. We had made me and my wife had, you know, ripped up like a card heart and did the layers and everything. And when she lived with her parents, she had like a garage that you couldn't see the lights on. It was just pitch black. And I had actually had the noisemaker, the ch-ch-ch. And I remember this guy walked up and we were giving out candy. It was Halloween. And we were giving out the candy. And every time somebody would walk up, as soon as they got their candy, I would walk down, you know, when they were walking away, and I'd scare them. And this guy, I don't know what drove him to bring like a glass mug of orange soda. Never figured it out. But I remember I walked down and he was not paying attention at all. And I walked up behind him and I put that noisemaker right next to his ear and hit it. And that dude dropped that glass and shattered it. I mean, I scared the absolute shit out of that guy. And from that point on, man, I was like, all right, I know this costume works. So I've kept on to it, but I haven't auditioned, but it's a funny story I usually tell, because it was pretty badass to just don that mask and that costume. So I kind of know how you feel.
That's a good time. The big guys always go down the easiest.
So you said you made the costume yourself, that you did the audition, and which movie did you take the inspiration from that you were copying?
That one was from Freddy vs. Jason.
That was what mine was from.
Okay.
That was what mine was from. It seemed like it was the easiest to do, because it was, you know, what nobody wanted to do part 7 because just decay and rot. That's a lot of work.
Be tough. That would be tough.
Yeah. I did it for Freddy vs. Jason too. Just seemed like that was the easiest to pull off. So yeah.
And I know people like to hate on Freddy vs. Jason. I enjoyed it. I went on a pre-screening media night before it got released, and with another friend named Jason. And when you got there, they gave you masks. You got to choose sides. So you got the Freddy mask or the Jason mask. And then you get in the theater, and it's almost like a wedding. You know, like Freddy this side, Jason this side, or whatever, and just the excitement of the crowd and everyone cheering for, you know, the whole time. It was just so awesome. So my experience with it was awesome and great. So I have good memories of that, and I like the design. I like the look, and I was going to be a part 6 or that one, and I thought that one felt a little bit more challenging than the part 6. So I just kind of went with that. But that was the one.
I love that movie. I love what Ronnie Yu did with that. People hate on that movie, and I can't understand why. I mean, I understand Kane wasn't in it, but after looking at it, you know, I can completely understand why, because you have to have a menacing Jason in to go up against Freddy. And I mean, what a lot and a lot of people know it. If you're a Jason fan, you know, if you pay attention, I mean, the guy that they got to play him, Ken Kersinger, he was a stuntman in part 8. He was the one that got thrown up against the diner mirror when, you know, Kane's walking through the diner in New York. So it's, you know, you kind of got that 18 levels of Kane Hodder, you know, 18 degree of Kane Hodder. He still was in a Friday the 13th movie. So it's not like he was just completely new, random picked, you know, he had been in it, and I think he did a great job for what it was. I really do.
Oh yeah. No, I think he did good. It was a different version of Jason, but it's a different style. It's a whole different thing and different movie. And so, I mean, I can appreciate it for what it is. I don't have to let it be in universe with the other franchise films. I can let it be what it is and just really enjoy it.
I'm surprised it came with the Friday the 13th box set, the Blu-ray box set. I'm like, it's not supposed to be in that universe. Like you said, it's not supposed to be considered the 11th, you know, Friday the 13th. I'll never consider that. Jason X was the 10th, and then the reboot, I don't even consider. I just consider there being 10 of them. 10, damn it.
Right. But it's, I guess they're going, here's all the studio films.
Yeah, somebody said it the other day, like, well, why haven't they made a 13th Friday the 13th? Because there's not a 12th one. There's not even an 11th one. There's 10. Damn it. And I'm glad you brought that up, because again, you know, even the Halloweens, you know, with Rob Zombie, it's a different universe. And I did like the first Rob Zombie Halloween, but the second one I was just kind of like, whoa, we went off the left field here. But yeah, that's one thing that I'm glad you brought up. It's just a different universe. It's a different type of style and a different universe. So yeah, but I love Freddy versus Jason.
Me too. And with these fan films that have come out recently, I really hate, you know, even calling them fan films. I know you have to. I mean, just because of Paramount Studios and all their rules about making a fan film and so forth. But I mean, with the production value of them and how good they look and how entertaining they are and how true they are to the stories. And I mean, especially Roseblood, with all the inspiration that was taken from, you know, multiple films, you know, or they're just continuations of stories that we already know and love, and they're really true to the characters and things like that. I kind of consider them to be part of the original series, and yeah, I don't separate them anymore. And as a result, you know, I put, you know, you and your acting as Jason in the same category as all of the same people who have done them through the years in the original Paramount films. So it's like, I don't separate that at all anymore. You know, to me, you are officially a Jason, whether or not you made a Paramount film or not. You know,
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you deserve it. You definitely, because say you deserve it for what you've done, and
these are the stories we didn't know we needed.
Yeah, never knew needed continuation of part 6. You know, with you know, his dad, and even past that with Vengeance 2. You know,
that was interesting. I did want to ask a quick question. I don't know if you hold the answer or the key to it or not, but when Elias was brought in, his character, there was a short little scene in Vengeance where basically he retrieved his son's body and you know, performed some type of ceremony where he read out of a book. And I was just curious if that was any type of a nod to part 9, just because part 9, they threw an Easter egg in there where basically they planted the Necronomicon in that movie. And I didn't know if inspiration was drawn from that, for that general part of the part of the story. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, a few thoughts. The So when we had the story, the backstory on there, where we wanted to have show Jason like why his body was never found because the dad found it, and where's Jason been? For all these years, there's this massive gap he's been hiding. Why? And it's like, well, we don't know where his dad is either. We don't. So we wanted to kind of start telling that story of how his dad played into all that and why Jace was missing. But we didn't want it to also just be that he was drowned or not drowned, not dead. We wanted to have this whole transition thing. And so we wrote just the book of, dark magic, a book of spells. We never referenced it as a Necronomicon, but as we started talking about it and writing it, we started having those conversations like, well, it wasn't part 9. And so it could be that it's like, yeah, but we're not saying it's that. And but we're not also saying it's not. So we kind of left it ambiguous because it can really be, and it's been, a lot of people love it. They're like, oh my God, I love that you brought the Necronomicon in. I always thought Jason was a Deadite, and I saw it in part 9, and I know this. And then other people are like, I hate the fucking Necronomicon, and I hate that you did that. And I was like, we never said it was. We never said it was. It's like he brought him back somehow. Jason, Jason was a corpse, and now he's alive. How did that happen? Right. It's not just like zombie Jason just wakes up from Walking Dead. It's whatever. There's something that brings him back. There's some sort of power, and it has a source. It has something, and we don't necessarily say exactly what that source is, but that might be part of the gateway, part of a tool to help that. And we go into a little bit more into in the next film. So.
Okay. Well, I kind of like that you left it ambiguous.
Yeah,
I mean, they left it ambiguous in part 9. It's
for
nice
like the
that you continue to leave it
us
undetermined in vengeance. That's really cool to just walk the line and let people think it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. People like us that watch it and like, hey, and we ask you these
I can
questions.
tell you, I had the thought when I watched it. So
I was right there with him. Like, is Ash Williams going to show up and it's going to be Jason versus Ash?
Oh, we talked about it. We actually talked about like a post-credit scene. The original scene was not supposed to have the girls on the swing. They were supposed to be in a hospital because Angelica, she gets run through with a machete from Elias at the end, and she falls forward and she's all bleeding out, gets carried away. But they were supposed to be in a hospital, and we had talked about some potential endings there, and then having one of them be Bruce Campbell showing up as one potential option. And saying something or starting to become part of it, but we scrapped it. It's like, that's too much commitment to saying it's a Necronomicon and now combining universes, and we don't want to end on that note.
It's messy. Yeah. It gets messy. Although I would like to hear groovy. That'd have been awesome.
Got the book here.
Get out,
man. That's awesome.
So you got the prop from Vengeance?
That's the one.
That is cool.
Vengeance and Vengeance 2.
That is so cool.
Dude, it looks.
Where'd the artwork come on that?
What's that?
Where'd the artwork come in on that? That's amazing.
What, somebody do that by hand?
Yeah, I drew it all.
You did it. Oh my God.
I did it.
Well, you're pretty talented. I mean, we knew that, but I didn't know you could draw like that.
Dude can do anything. Dude can do it. Do anything.
Yeah, basically took an old book that I found it was falling apart at a thrift store, and then found it in leather and dyed it and just made all this.
It looks amazing, dude. It looks awesome.
Yeah, I wish that people could see the detail of it on screen, that like you can see in person, because it's obviously there's more detail in person, but
oh yeah.
Cool.
I love it. And I love the fact that Elias is of course played by CJ Graham. So I guess getting him, was it easier to get him in because he played in part 6? He was Jason, or did it take a little bit coercing?
No, that was the transition from Mythos to Vengeance with CJ. So when we were doing Mythos, Jeremy had kind of pre-funded the films at that point. Him and his wife, they put on credit cards, did all this stuff, and then they were hoping to get this filming done, put out the trailer, make an Indiegogo, make the money back. And when they did that, they we ran the Indiegogo, but we didn't have a very big following. No one knew who we were. No one knew what Mythos was. No one, whatever. So we didn't make it. We fell very short of the goal. And also it was meant to be a short, like 20, 25 minutes. And we kept hearing, well, we want brutality. And it was very story based about the mythos of Jason. We want brutality. We want a feature length film. We want more. And so after the crowdfunding, the Indiegogo fell short, we're at my apartment, Jeremy and I are talking, and he's like, well, what do we do? Do we walk away from it or do we move forward? And I was like, I don't walk away from shit. We move forward. And I said, this is an opportunity. We can listen to the people, listen to what they want. They want a full length feature. They want a story. They want to have brutality. And I said, first, let's get rid of the name Mythos because let's be honest, that's weird. And then let's go back to the original working title he had, which was Vengeance. And that was the original pre-Mythos title. I said, go back to that. And I said, and you could tell the Elias story that you keep talking about that you wish you could tell. And he's like, yeah, but we'd have to find someone good to play Elias for it to really work. And I was like, get CJ Graham. And I don't know why I said it, where it came from, but I said, just get, he's like, yeah, just get CJ. Okay. And I was like, why not? Be perfect. Like he was in part 6. How cool would it be if the Jason from part 6 is playing the father to the sequel? And, and he's like, okay. And after a couple beers later, he wrote to CJ, wrote him a letter in an email and sent it off. And then we're like, well, just did that. And a couple hours later, we're sitting there. And I remember it was June 12th, Thursday, June 12th, we were doing some stuff. And then that night we got an email back from CJ and he's like, uh-oh, what'd he say? So he said, let's talk tomorrow. And the next day, which happened to be June 13th, Friday the 13th,
Friday,
Jason's birthday. And it was a Friday. CJ was at an event and he said, I saw the trailer. I saw the stuff that you made. I saw whatever. I like it. Let's do it.
Wow.
He said, send over a letter of intent and let's do it. And so from that point, we're like, all right, we're back in business. We got CJ Graham.
Damn right.
We can announce that. That's going to give a new boost to everything. And so then we started moving forward. So, but he going back a little bit to you guys saying, you think of me as, one of those Jasons.
Mm-hmm.
CJ was the first to say something similar. When I first time I met him in person was at his house in Arizona. I flew out there to go talk with him and get some production shots and everything. And I just remember staying in his house being like, I can't believe I'm here. People pay all this money to go to conventions to spend, 30 seconds with them, get an autograph and move on. And here I am at his home.
Yeah.
And it was really cool. And so I was kind of geeking out a bit. And so we did our talk, we did our interview, we did the stuff. And as we're leaving, I was like, thank you so much. He's like, oh, don't worry, you're going to be doing great. And you'll be doing conventions one day and all this stuff. I'm like, no. I mean, I'm just a fan film, Jason. It's not like you. It's not, that kind of thing doesn't happen. He's like, he stopped me, grabbed me by the shoulder. And he said, look, he said, are you wearing a full Jason costume in this? I said, yeah. Are you doing your own stunts? Yeah. Is it a feature length film? Yeah. He said, you did the same shit I did. I think, you're doing a full length feature film dressed as Jason, doing your own stunts. We're doing the same thing. We're equal. He said, I want to see you on the stage with all of us. And I was like, holy shit, thank you. And that was I felt very honored by that. And then with Steve Dash, a few months later, we went down to Florida and we stayed at his home and I was in his guest room and stuff, but he called me over the couch one day and said something very similar. And that's where he told me to be my own version of Jason. He knows that I was studying everyone. And he said, as far as I'm concerned, if I'm ever at a convention, you're on stage with me. If I do anything, you're with us. You are a Jason. He says, I don't give a shit what anyone else says. You're one of us. Yeah. And I'm like, holy shit.
Well, you should be. You should be. And man, rest in peace, so Steve amazing. Dash. What an amazing person.
And I did watch that short documentary on him, and I'm so glad that he got to be a part of Vengeance. And I understand you guys basically wrote that part for him, that it wasn't originally included in the story. And
yeah.
And I tell you what, I'm so glad that happened because he was killer in that. Yeah. He was so good, and it would not have been the same without it. I absolutely loved his character in that.
Yeah, absolutely. It was more secret stuff we haven't talked about before. We were writing Vengeance, originally that roadblock scene with the prisoners, we were going to try to get Kane and Steve Dash, Ari Lehman. We're trying to get as many Jasons as we could to be the prisoners.
Yeah.
Out of the Jason costume and stuff. We thought that'd be kind of fun. And so we talked to Steve, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm too old. I can't fly out to Seattle in the middle of February and stand outside." And so it's like, "All right." And it's like, "Well, we're scrapping the whole prisoner idea anyway with the Jasons." And I said, "Well, it's too hard to travel." I said, "Well, maybe we can go to him. He does conventions still, so maybe there's a convention we can go to, and we can set up a hotel room, and we can get him as if he's in the office somewhere, and just film him his part as the cop or as a sheriff from the desk." And then he wrote back, he's like, "Oh, you're willing to come out here to wherever I'm going? Like, that's how bad you want me?" And it's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Okay, I'll do it because you guys are passionate and stuff, but I want a bigger part." And I'm like, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
And so so we did that. We wrote the part. We flew out to Florida, filmed for half a week or more, and got his stuff done. And it was an amazing experience. So grateful for that, and grateful for him to give us his last performance.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you for talking about that.
Yeah,
That's
man,
awesome.
I didn't mean to bring it up, but it was hard not to with him being mentioned, man, because he was just,
you can't not say it.
just absolute pivotal in the Friday 13th universe.
It for sure. And I don't know if you saw the last post or one of the last posts, but we got his grandson in the film.
Yes.
To play the young Jason. And
I saw the pictures of him in makeup.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Looks really good.
So that was a good time. And really kind of emotional for everyone, because Steve's daughter was there, Sandy and the family. And I mean, in that scene, we were just, as we went through it, and he has the costume and it was pretty powerful on set. So I hope that people understand it and feel the same when they're watching it.
Oh, I'm sure they will. I know you got two fans sitting right here that.
Yeah, the gravity's not lost on us. We will certainly be experiencing those emotions when we see it. I'm sure of it. And I really look forward to it. So I mean, since you're used to playing in costume and non-speaking roles, like as the silent killer type, I mean, you basically have to focus more on like physical acting, like and just in a general sense, like what's your approach to that? I mean, where do you draw inspiration from, and what do you focus on? I mean, that seems incredibly difficult to do.
I think it's a good question. And I love it when Peter answers this for me, because he talks about it better than I do. I just kind of go with it. Like I try to feel the character and just do what I would do. And like Steve said, I was trying to like learn Caden's movements and understand what goes in his mind, and CJ and Steve and everyone. And then Steve is the one who said, "Take all that, throw that shit away. Just be you. Don't be me. Don't, like when Ted White came in, he didn't look to anyone else. He didn't look to me. When CJ comes in, he didn't look to Ted. He didn't look to me. He didn't, Kane didn't look at CJ to follow him. Everyone did their own version of Jason. And that's what made them special. Everyone has their favorite version of it. And that's what makes each one special. Do your own." And I was like, wow, thank you. And so I did. And so from then on, I just kind of let go. And just kind of whatever pieces I guess absorbed from these different people is what comes out. And it's not necessarily on purpose. It just kind of is. So as far as playing Jason, that's what I do. When it comes to like when I've done the Darth Vader appearances for TV or for commercials or whatever, that one is very different because it's very mechanical, and I'm like, stand this way, whatever. And the other monsters, I try to figure out. When I'm the lizard monster, I was like, okay, how am I gonna move this way and why? And he's got this injury here, and he would move this way because he's not used his body yet. So anyway, there's a lot of, and also was a 60s kind of a throwback monster schlock film. So wanted to keep that rubber suit feel. It changes to each one. Some I just let go. Some I'm very specific on what I do in the performance, I guess.
Were you talking about Zombiegeddon just now?
No, that one was a different one. This one was what was it? It got an odd name, like Experiment TC 1278 or something like that.
Oh yeah. I saw that on the list.
And it's about a mad scientist. It's a short film. There was a guy who was making films for Trauma, short films for Trauma and the Trauma Channel for a while, and named Todd Redemus, who was brilliantly crazy about making films and stuff. But that one was just a crazy mad scientist who wanted to find love and fix his ailment, which he had a messed up hand. And as he injected himself, it was based on regeneration and amphibian creatures being able to regenerate or whatever, and it just turned him into a lizard.
Fucking Spider-Man.
That's cool.
Basically. So he but then he ends up accidentally kind of killing the girl that he's hoping to be with, and but then brings her back by using the serum. And anyway, yeah,
I want to see that movie now.
That's cool. Yeah. Experiment TC 9585. I found it. It's
there you go. Yeah.
Nice.
So where do you find some of these movies? I was looking for some of them and I was having a hard time.
I was looking recently too. I'm not sure if he took them down, or they used to be on Trauma, and they used to be on YouTube. They used to be on Vimeo, but I'm not sure if he took them down for one reason or another. I haven't talked to him in a few years, so.
Okay.
But mostly you can find them YouTube. There was a couple that were on like Amazon. You can buy the DVD, not the streaming necessarily, but yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. I want you to let me know.
Yeah. Well, if I figured it out, I'll send you a message.
Right.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to spend the whole time talking about Jason and the Friday the 13th, even though we're really excited about this stuff. We really want to see it. I'm really anticipating Vengeance 2. So, but
I can't wait to talk about that one.
I'll be patient until there's something to show.
Can't wait to talk about it. Can't wait. You don't have to wait.
Yeah.
I know. It's just looking at the edit and watching it, and like there's so many cool things that it's like, oh, I just want to share this. It's like, no, I gotta wait. I want to share that. No, I gotta wait. There's so many, and Peter could say too, and like we go back and forth on should we not, what can we do? And then what's funny was there were some pretty awesome pieces as we're making it that were like, wow, this is so awesome. We really need to keep this a secret. But then we got more and more and more awesomeness and more things that were like, this doesn't seem as big of a secret now. We could probably release that, right? Okay, let's put that in the trailer. So it's gonna be pretty fun.
No, like I told you, I want to be as excited as the other people that see it for the first time. I just because like when
absolutely
when
no
we
spoilers.
Yeah, when we saw Vengeance, blown away, Roseblood, even more blown away, Fall of Camp Blood, even more blown away. They just keep getting better. So if Vengeance 2 is anywhere on that spectrum, you're gonna blow our fucking minds.
Yeah.
Oh, if you like Vengeance, you'll love Vengeance 2.
I have zero doubt. Like I said, man, you
I'll be looking for a double Blu-ray pack.
Yeah, we need to buy your stuff. Like we want to actually buy like the Blu-rays of these movies. Streaming's nice, but I like to try to support people too.
We got a new Indiegogo because we've been getting hit up a lot asking. I missed the first one. I missed the first Vengeance one. I missed the Vengeance 2 one. Can I do it again? And we need money for all this post-production. The things I mentioned cost money. So we're going to start a new campaign this weekend and launch a trailer for the film.
Oh, good. Well, then when it's up, we'll share it on the page and see if we can get you a little bit more help.
Sweet.
That'd be awesome.
We'll definitely donate, especially with you hopping on here. We'll throw some money that way without a doubt.
And I won't spoil too much, but she's on the thing. But you mentioned Darcy earlier. Diana Prince, Darcy, the male girl from Joe Bob.
Yep.
She was just at my house here a week or two ago. We were hanging out because we were filming, doing a little bit of something there. So you might see another appearance.
Another appearance?
Damn. That's all I needed. That's all I needed right there. Exclusive. That's all I needed. She's so great too.
She is amazing. I love her to death.
She's awesome.
And she's funny. She's sweet. She's patient, and yeah.
I love what she does for the horror community. She's just so great.
She's smart. She's brilliant too. People I don't think realize how I got to spend for the first film. we did a body cast on her, full body cast for the kill and everything, which
Mhm.
didn't end up working out to use. But I got to spend a couple days with her, driving around, hanging out with her, participating with the casting and all that, and that gave us a lot of time to kind of catch up and talk and for me to get to know her and get to know each other. And I was just blown away by how intelligent she is and how business savvy she is. And she was telling me at the time, like, yeah, I'm going to bring Joe Bob Briggs back to the air. I'm going to try work on this project and this project. And I'm like, you are? She goes, yeah, I'm trying to partner with Shudder to do it. She was just telling me these things that were going to happen that she's working on. I'm like,
Yeah.
that'd be awesome.
And now they're real.
Did. And then and then I don't know if you guys knew, you seem to know a lot, but once she got the Joe Bob Briggs show thing, she reached out and she's like, hey, you do costume stuff. Can you make my male girl costume? And so I did. So the male girl costume she wears, and some of the costumes, the blue shirt, the shorts, and the red bag, I made all by hand. And then the other, some of the other stuff she wore for some of the costumes I made as well. But
that's so cool.
Well, I mean, you tell me that I should be surprised, and I'm not. I'm not. It's not. It's like, oh, Jason Brooks made that. Shocker.
Yeah.
You do anything.
Hey, she's just the guy who does it all.
And she's got behind a lot of stuff. I think she just got with Full Moon to promote a bunch of their stuff. I think I can't remember if it was like last month or month before, but yeah, she's involved with a lot of stuff. But man, the Joe Bob stuff is just amazing.
It's awesome. Yeah, she told me a couple more things I can't talk about, and I won't because just but it's fun. So yeah, I think you'll be happy.
I'm already happy. Happy now.
Yeah.
Happy I got to talk to you, and happy that I know that you're as
we heard that
passionate as
about
we
you.
are
If
with
you're not allowed to talk about something, you don't.
Yeah, I don't. That's
Yeah.
fine. That's fine. I'm not gonna be like, well, we're ending this interview because he won't spoil anything. No, we're ending this interview because we've had our hour of your time, and man, has it been amazing. You're as much fun to talk to as Peter was, without a doubt. Just you guys' passion behind it and you guys wanting us to succeed. I mean, it's just it's invigorating. I mean, it's we don't even make movies. We just talk about them. But to be able to, it's kind of the same thing. Like I get excited. Like I'm gonna get excited when we do a review on Vengeance. We'll probably do like a double feature Vengeance 2 review, and we'll be just as excited to do it.
And if I had a suggestion for when you finally get your merchandising out there and stuff like that, if I could ask if there could be like a line of like Louis beef jerky, that would be awesome. Just a little thing on it that says "put some hair on your nuts," And,
a bush would say a bush.
Yeah, you gotta track like a Brillo pad.
Right. The guy's like, so I can wash my dishes with you. Like, what? Why would you do that? It's a fucking great character. So great.
I think, yeah, we got future things coming up, and that's one that I might want to refilm and redo, because that one just never got completed because I ended up going to the whole Mythos thing.
Sure.
But there was a lot of fun pieces. That was a pretty good film that I wish I would have completed or got it done, but might still do it. But we got some other really cool big deal things we're all working on too in the future. So
that's cool. Yeah, I found myself wanting to see Happy Trails. So I mean, it looked like a cool idea,
that.
and I wanted to catch the rest of it.
Where's the rest of this at? If it's like this, sign me up.
So
it's hilarious.
So you got some other projects in the work that are basically either starting or wrapping up now. I mean, like the Barn Part 2, which looks like you got like Louis in that, maybe.
Louis again.
You got Louis in the Barn Part 2. I played 2 parts, Louis and Zombie Jesus. Zombie Jesus.
Zombie Jesus is going to be in other films too. I know it.
Yeah, I got to work with Linnea Quigley and Ari Lehman again.
That's a stacked cast there.
Oh, it was. It was definitely stacked. Lloyd Kaufman got to do all this, so that was pretty fun. And then Park Dead: The Awakening, also Louis. Those are the stuff that kind of already shot. We have some more, like Cody, Peter, and I. We've got some non-fan film projects that we have ready to go.
Yeah.
As soon as we're done with this, we're going to start kicking into those. So some pretty cool. We got some sci-fi, we got some drama, we got some horror, we got some crossover stuff, and just a lot of really fun projects, action adventure.
Nice, man.
And so
I love it.
We're
I'm
here for the
excited.
duration, man. Anything
Hopefully-
you're doing, we're going to be here to watch it. We're going to be here to support you guys.
Well, like
No,
I told
appreciate
him,
it.
hopefully you'll document that journey with us and share some of the stuff on our page. I mean, it's open to you. Anything that we can help promote or try to do, I mean, to support it. I mean, we certainly will try our best. So yeah, that's super cool.
I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Man.
Is there anything you'd like to plug, like websites or social media or anything like that?
Yeah, just so come find the F13 Vengeance fan page on Facebook or F13 Vengeance. Is it official? Well, I'm on my phone now. I'm here, so I can't look. But the F13 Vengeance Instagram. You can find me at the Jason Brooks Official on TikTok. YouTube is Real Fiction Studios. I got a bunch of stuff out there, but follow us, and then we'll post the links to the campaign everywhere. And the trailer will be out in a couple days, and hopefully you guys enjoy it. I haven't seen it. I have no idea what's in the trailer yet. I'm anxiously waiting myself to see how that's going to turn out. So
amazing. It's turned out amazing.
Fantastic. Well, I thank you so much for hopping on with us and taking the time to talk. We don't want to keep you too long because I know that we try to keep these things, generally to an hour. We always seem to go a little long, but
because we have fun. Because we have fun.
Yeah. I appreciate you talking candidly to us and giving us your real take on your experience.
Yeah, anytime. My pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, man. Have a good night, man. Thank you again.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
All right, man. Sure.
All right. See you later.
Take care,
See you,
man.
man.
Later.